So, do you feel like your food struggles have stolen your true identity? And if you're anything like I was, you have been struggling for a hell of a long time. I battled my eating disorder for over 10 years until it got to the point where I felt like it had become just a part of who I was, and I had no idea who I was without it. Now, this is so important to see that your problems are not your true identity. This is essential if you ever want to be truly free. I want to explain why. When your sense of self or your identity is tied to your eating problems, no amount of change will ever happen because to change means your identity, your sense of self has to die. And of course, your identity does not want to go anywhere. So you will never be able to permanently be free because that identity is not going to die. So de-identifying from your problems is absolutely essential. And I'm going to explain how you can start this process. So the first thing I want you to consider is that all of us have two parts to ourselves, kind of like having a split personality. We've got your true self part. This is the part of you who wants to change. It's on your side. And then we have your problem part. This is the part of you holding you back. It's the negative part, the inner critic, everything that is trying to stop you from changing. Now, this problem part has been formed by early life experiences, the ways you were viewed and were treated growing up. For example, if you were lonely as a child, you may then grow up to feel unlovable, unworthy, and then turn to food or some other coping mechanism for emotional support. Now, your true self part, this part of you is all about growth and expansion. She wants the best for you and will always point you in the right direction. However, right now it may feel like she is totally lost. And this is down to the principle that where focus goes, energy flows. And this also applies to these two parts of you. So if you're spending most of your time giving your food issues part the most attention, whether that's through battling, giving into it, fighting it, trying to avoid it, this part of you will become stronger and more dominant over time. The more focus and attention you give this part, the bigger and more powerful it's going to grow, to the point where your true self part is literally squashed under the weight of this part. And there's a second part to that principle, which is what you fail to use, you lose. Now, your true self part will start to shrink, becoming quieter and weaker over time until you completely lose your true voice. You feel lost and completely controlled by your food issues part. And this is when it can feel like you have no idea who you are anymore. And then you start living your life as if you were your food issues part. Now, even though it may not feel like it right now, there are ways you can strengthen your true self part. So the very first thing to do to start figuring this out, the key is to firstly start paying attention to who is ruling the show. To start to listen to that voice in your head. And you can do this as a journaling exercise at the end of the day, where you will literally brain dump all of your thoughts onto a piece of paper. Then you'll grab a highlighter and start to highlight all of those things which have come from your food issues part. And this will give you a really clear idea of how strong that part is and how much it is consuming and controlling your mind. And also a little secret, this part, your problem part, is not that clever. It will tend to say the same sort of things over and over again. So if you do this exercise over the course of a week, what you will find that you'll see the same things cropping up time and time again, which gives you the awareness and the power so that the next time it happens, you can go, I know that. That is my food problem part. I know what it's doing. It's saying this to me all the time. oh yeah, the same sort of thing. And this is the very start of the identification process. When you start to realize that all of these thoughts that you've written down are not coming from your true self part, they're coming from your food problem part, which has been ruling the show. So find out, start paying attention to what is actually going on inside and where your focus tends to go in those challenging moments. So which part have you been focusing on today?